Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your Minifig host, Matt. Let's bet on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing? Episode 213 today. And if you caught the breaking news segment, you already know what we're getting ready to talk about. And we are getting ready to talk about the new Lego modular building, the boutique hotel set 10297. Yes, this big behemoth, beautiful thing I have right here in front of me. I've been waiting to share this with you. And oh my goodness, it continues to be the best modular yet. It's like every year they continue to go above and beyond, and the design in this with the different angles to be able to get that beautiful shape. Oh man, it just continues to get better. So let's talk about details before we get any further. If you didn't figure out, that already, it comes with 3,066 pieces. It is an 18 plus set, obviously, and it's going to retail for 200 US, 200 Euro, and 180 pounds. I don't have any other what the cost is for any other currency around the world. So let's take a deep dive into this thing. So one of the things that you notice as you continue to build this, as you begin to build it, it does have that very unique shape. It isn't just a square building. It isn't a rectangular building. It does way more. Now, what I found interesting was the steps that are used in the front that go up to the little balcony area I believe it's for the art area. But what I found interesting is the stairs resembled or reminded me a little bit of that from, I think it was the bookshop that did it. A little bit different. I do like the detail that is on the inside. And I will tell you, when you build this thing, you build it sideways. You build it kind of in a very interesting fashion. And then you connect the whole assembly, which is actually really cool. But what they've got is they've got this little decoration. I guess it's supposed to be kind of like one of those wall waterfalls, if you know what I mean, where the water comes down like a piece of glass and then, recycles back around. I do like the way that looks. It's pretty neat. Down at the bottom of the stairs, you have this poster of whatever is coming up in the area. And these are callbacks to other modulars. You have an apple here for the greengrocer. It says new star. It's talking about the Parisian restaurant. You're talking about the detective services. Andy Sachs at the music hall. Painting stuff. Clipping. They have a pair of scissors here, a pair of shears, obviously for the barber. Really cool stuff. And then you have the one that says lessons and it has boxing gloves. That's a callback to the downtown diner, right? So really cool little callback to all of them. I mean, we're talking 15 years. By the way, that is a print. It looks really sharp. So I'm going to start on this side. I guess you could technically call this the front, even though it's not really the front. There is no real true front because it is on a corner the way that this is built. So this is a corner building for you, which is always a good thing. All right. So down on the first floor next to the stairs, we have the El Cubo, which is a very cool name for your fine art stuff. Down in here, you have this very interesting abstract art cube. You have something that looks like it should be like a Picasso that's on the wall there. You have another multicolored painting across the way. And then you have something, another print here of a painting, a cubism type dealio that is displayed in the front windows of the art studio here, which I think is actually really neat. It is a glass door. The door does open out, but the cube was a pretty cool little build. There's also a desk here with a chair, but not really much room other than that. What I've found interesting is on the inside, underneath the stairs, they have this built-in thing. It's I guess it's supposed to be some kind of statue / pottery / I'm not quite sure because it's just like a top hat there. but it does look really sharp. It is a tiny space, but man, it is really neat. Those of you that are going to make videos might end up having a little bit of trouble, getting down inside of there. I can think like Jang, who's done modulars in the past. Anyway, moving just above that, because this is kind of its own little piece, you have this little balcony area for the fine art studio where you can walk up the stairs and go to it. This is a beautiful brick-built palm tree. I absolutely love it. I love the lighted lanterns that are here on the corners. Those are really just detailed little builds, a lot of fun to add to it. Really like the way the tables were done here. These are standing tables. There are no chairs up here. And they use the 2x2 round that have the grooves on the side. And it makes it feel like there's tablecloths, fancy tablecloths hanging down. I like the way that is done. There's a lattice window that is up here with some vegetation growing around it. And then you have your little wet bar, your little bar for your, your server, whoever might be serving some grown-up apple juice or whatever else, a little bit of champagne, a little bit of toasty. So you have some glasses in a bottle there. I really like the way that is done. Now, moving along to the bottom floor of the main building here. And I've got to say, there's a lot of space in this for it not entirely taking up the entire base plate because it is a corner model. The lobby of this hotel is beautifully done. So on the inside, well, let's start from the outside. As you walk in, you have this very decorative H for hotel with some other printing, some stars and a little vine work around it. I like the way that is done. Staying with the color theme here for that trans yellow, just like we saw with the lights. I like that with the black. It really gives it a nice little feel to it. So you walk through the door, you see this beautiful vase, this black vase with some flowers sticking out the top of it. A nice brick-built couch. Really like the way that is done. One of the things that you really notice when you start building this is the decoration that is built into the floor with all the tiling. Something that just really goes above and beyond. They've got a nice little black and white square pattern, kind of diamond-esque, two diamonds that are overlaid. I like the way that is done. It really turned out to be something very interesting, just to say the least. And then you have the dark red couch, like I said. So the coloring there is great. Now you do have the lobby desk. Has an old school telephone, with the ringer on it, where you've got the dial. You put your finger in it and spin it around. You've got your visitor guest book login, and it's got some names of some people that, if I remember it correctly in the instructions, it is of people that are from previous modulars that are staying here. So that's kind of neat. Just behind that, you have a built-in or a deep set key rack where you've got some skeleton keys that are hanging here for the doors and stuff like that. That's a kind of a neat design. And then you also have a piece of art that is on the wall that uses the 1x1 tiles, just the square tiles. I do like that. Underneath the stairs, there's kind of an empty space, but there's really nothing that you could do there. The stairs are neat. They're brick built, obviously. And at the bottom of the railing, there's some unique decoration using kind of a whip at the bottom of it. Kind of bizarre, but whatever. Anyway, so the windows down here on the bottom, the three big windows, very tall windows. It is a 2 brick deep window inset. So the windows are inset into the build. I do like that. It always adds another level, another feel, some interesting depth to it without having to really use a whole bunch of crazy pieces. We'll talk about the exterior here in a little bit. So let's move up to the second floor. So moving up to the second floor, as you come up the stairs are towards the back, mind you. It's just a continuing stairwell that is going up, but there is a door to a hotel room as soon as you come up, and there's also a door to another one as soon as you come up. One of them is smaller than the other. One of them is much larger than the other. You've got the corner penthouse, I guess you could say, which is actually really cool looking. You walk in through the door, and you have a nice little hutch, a little dresser that is here. I guess it'd be a hutch or a dresser, not a hutch. Has a brick-built drawer. The drawer doesn't open, but the doors do open to allow you, if you want to stick some things in there. Maybe you want to create a scenario where there's, I don't know, the brick bank guys are stolen something and they're hiding a jewel or gem or whatever in there. You have a nice bed that is done here in the ever amazing green from the green grocer that everybody loves, that is infatuated with. I like it myself, so I guess I can't speak, to that. You also have a typewriter here, and that's a callback to the Lego Ideas typewriter because it is in the same color. It is black. It is printed. It does have the printed keys, but it is super duper tiny, but they use that green, just like from the typewriter. I was like, I see what y'all did here. I see what's going on. You have a grill piece that is upside down that is built here with some legs to give you a chair that sits at this desk that holds a nice actual looking lamp, very formal, and then your typewriter as well. You also have a chair that is chilling in the corner. It is on a rotation piece, so it can spin around 360 degrees. You put your minifig in there, and maybe they're checking out the views, because I got to say, the views from this penthouse area are exquisite. I really like the detail that is on the outside of these windows. And here's the other thing. There are so many windows. There's a ton of windows here. The windows on the bottom open outward, which is nice. I really like the way that is done. Now, on to the smaller little studio apartment, hotel room, whatever you want to call it. Super duper tiny. It is. You have a little tile, a 2x4 tile that is on the floor to, donate. I guess it's supposed to denote that it's a rug or something taking up some floor space. You do have a little end table next to the bed, which uses, again, that dark red. We're seeing it in everything now. There's a picture, the generic picture of a bridge on a tile, but it does have a little night light type lamp that is on the end table. I do like the way that is done. You have a dresser as well. This one does not open. It is only one brick deep, and then a plate, tiles on the outside. But you do have this interesting brick-built chair, and what they do is they use the robot arms with it's not a lightsaber hilt. It's one that's similar to that, but it is sat at a tiny little desk. But what is cool about this hotel room, it does have a door that does go to the outside, that does open out, and you have this little balcony area. And what is cool about the balcony is the way it was designed to be decorative and at the same time completely unique. I mean, we're using black handcuff pieces and skeleton legs and, modified 1x1 round plates that have the bar sticking out of it. I mean, there's nothing like that. I mean, we've seen other stuff like this in the past, but there's just something to it. It's just really, really cool. So before I move along to the next floor, I wanted to talk about some of the build stuff here. And what you get with this is you start building with just regular rectangular plates and stuff like that. And then at some point, this Lego geometry comes into play because you're using essentially what are wing pieces. And what I mean by that is, so they're 6 studs wide and however many studs long, but they're angled after the third stud on the side. Okay, so it goes from 3 studs or 6 studs wide down to 3 studs wide at the bottom end where the taper is, which is great. That's awesome. It makes a perfect joint. And then they use a hinge in here, the 2x2 hinges that are put together. You know what I mean? When you close them, they're the 2x2. It's perfect. And I've got to say, this is probably more rigid than just about any other modular. You can bend this around in your hands and there's no movement in it. So you do use those hinge pieces a few times just to be able to get that decoration, to get that movement, I should say, to get that angle. And then they also use some of the hinge the hinge brick pieces that we've seen before, the 1x2s. So I like the way that is done. I really like the color scheme of this floor. You have that peach color, you have the white, you have that nougat color. I mean, it really works well together. Plus you have the brown of the windows. It just feels old school hotel, very reeks of rich mahogany, if any of you get that reference. So moving along to the top floor, which is always a good part to go to, right? We're going to talk about the Penthouse Suite. I know I misquoted and I said, oh, this is the Penthouse Suite. No, the Penthouse Suite is coming up. All right. We get to the penthouse, and the penthouse has all the goodies, all the amazingness, all the beauty, all the designs. I'm going to have a hard time describing how beautiful this is, but I shall try. I shall try my best because that's what we do. All right. You come up and you enter into the penthouse via one solitary door because this is the entire floor. As you come in the door, you turn left, and what do you see? Something beautiful, of course. A very big dresser, brick-built dresser that has the doors that can open. And these doors don't have any friction. They just freely swing open and close depending on how you move this around. They use some T-bars that are used here on the bottom to make it look like drawer pulls for the drawers underneath that. Next to that, you have this beautifully done brick-built chair in all black. It really looks sharp the way it's done next to the bed. On the bed, this is a double-sized minifig bed, so you could get 2 minifigs to lay in this bed side by side. What they use here, I found interesting. They use the tiny cupcake pieces upside down as lamp shades. It's crazy with gold-bottomed lamps. I love the way that looks. It's really cool. So they use this teal-colored blue for what is, I guess, supposed to be the decorative comforter that is on top of the bed. And then there's also chocolate. It is laying on the bed. You know, it's your night chocolate or whatever it's called. Whatever. Your chocolate mint before bed or whatever. So then you also have in here, there's a little table that has a bottle on it. I'm assuming maybe they're celebrating something or whatever. I mean, you go to a hotel and you're like, yeah, let's have some fun. Yeah, I totally agree. All right. Anyway, moving along here, we've got an old school television. And when I say old school, I mean old school. Black and white on here. And then somebody is singing on it. They do a really good job in the way this little small build was built. They actually use a 1x2 modified plate that has open studs on the side. We usually see these on the studs on the side type builds. And that is supposed to be your knobs to be able to change the channel and increase the volume, which there weren't a whole lot of channels at that point in time. There's also another lamp that is up here, and they use the lamp shade kind of like they did with the tables outside of the art gallery, where it has that 2x2 round with the grooves on the side as a lampshade. I like the way that is done. It's really neat. There's also a door to the outside. You can go out there. There's really not much to see out there. There's really not much room to stand at all. You can stand a minifig right there at the precipice, and that's about it. So good stuff in there. In the bathroom is actually pretty cool in the way that it is done. It utilizes this space well, but by golly, it is tight. So in here, you have a printed mirror piece. It is not reflective. It's meant to look reflective, but it is not. There is an open cauldron, I guess, type sink that is right next to the tub, which is a beautifully large tub. We'll talk about that in a second. You have your toilet, which is probably the smallest I've seen toilets done ever. And then your TP holder, of course, because you need the TP. The tub that I was talking about is huge. When I built this build, this tiny little build, I immediately thought of those that stream on Twitch and stuff like that when hot tubbing was a thing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just stay with me for a minute. People used to, usually young girls, would be in their swimsuits in a hot tub, whether it be a blow-up pool or whatever, and you get all the creepos that are in there, ogling. So then they would get viewers based on, hey, I'm in a hot tub, that kind of thing. Anyway, so I immediately thought, this hot tub here, this bathtub, it looks more like a hot tub. It has the golden actual faucet that is used here, that one piece mold that is used on the end here. But here's what I was thinking. So when all of this was going around, Jang Bricks streams on Twitch now. And he went and did that whole silliness, not to that degree, obviously. It was to poke fun at it. Anyway, he also uses the pink cone. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go check out his stuff on Twitch. He uses the pink cone, and there are pink cones that are used here for shampoo, conditioner, I don't know, bubble bath, whatever, on the edge of the tub. And immediately I thought of Jang when I saw all of this in combination. I was like, all right. Anyway, with that in mind, some really good stuff here. I am a huge fan of the way this has turned out. This penthouse part. One of the other really cool build parts that I thought of this was in each window unit for this floor in general, you have white on the inside framing the window, and then you have white on the outside where they use those candle pieces. And above that, they use what we've seen for like ATVs or sometimes other vehicles where they have this piece. It is I guess it's technically 4 wide plate, but it's on a 2x2 plate. And then it has a sloped tile that is on the side of it, on the sides, to give, to make it kind of look like a wheel well to a certain degree. And they butt these up next to each other to give you a nice curved arch on the outside and on the inside. It's beautifully done in the way that they did that. I really love the design and the way that was done. That is something I would have never, ever thought about. And they really went above and beyond with that. They also use the 1x2 rounded end plates that have holes in the middle to kind of hold everything together till you get everything locked into place. Plus they have these small windows the entire way around. There's so many windows. And you also have vegetation decoration on the outside, some with some red flowers in it, some with just the green plant leaf, which works for me. I don't have a problem either way. Regardless, this is probably one of my favorite parts of the build experience. It was just something that, it's a cool room. Like you could take your own little minifig and put them inside here and be like, you know what? This is where I am staying because I'm super awesome, amazing. You get some sign of the times with some decoration. And like I said, with the TV in here, but then it also kind of feels a little bit more modern in some of the other things that you see now in hotels more and more frequently, where they kind of go back to the past stuff. I do like the way it's done. It is definitely one of my favorites. So I know you're enjoying this because, my God, this is so stinking cool. But before we get any further, I have to take a quick break, and we'll be back here in a moment. So let's move to the roof, because the roof is very last, obviously, and then we'll talk about the exterior and minifigs and anything else. So on the roof, you have this large dome that is over the front end of the building. It gives it a really nice, sharp look. And the interesting thing about it is it's a fun little build. I mean, it really, really is. But that isn't what captures your eye. What captures your eye are these bars that are stuck in here along the top of the roof here. And they use the snake pieces that are curled around. So the snake mouths are actually opening towards the sky. They use these the entire way around as kind of like a fencing. I love it. As that ironwork, it really looks sharp. There are opening skylights that are in here. There's 4 of them. They're two bricks wide, 2 studs wide, I guess you could say, not 2 bricks. They are 2 studs wide, and they are in the entirety of the center of the penthouse suite, which is really, really cool. I do like the way that is done. And again, same kind of building technique here to get this angle to make it fit just perfectly. You really can't go wrong with anything that was done here. I mean, it was so well done. So let's talk about what the outside has. We already talked a little bit about the decoration here for, the rooftop and the edges and stuff. But what you don't see is, well, you don't see any of it right now. But what you don't realize is all of the little pieces that get used. If you've never built a modular before, designers have a very unique way of taking the smallest pieces. And I'm talking about just small plates, small tiles, small modified plates, and putting them together in a way that gives you such amazing decoration and detail, and gives you a different depth and gives you a different feel. It adds that texture that, you don't have to have a specialized piece. So I want to start, if you're going to look at this from the hotel entrance, we already talked about El Cubo. On the left side, there's a fire hydrant out in front of that. But let's talk about what else is over here, because there is a lot more over here. So on the right side of the hotel building, you have your door, obviously, and they use the textured brick. They do, but they use the side that doesn't have the individual like brick pieces. It's the straight lines. And then they use, in some cases, they use the 1x2 or the 2x2 round plates. In other cases, they use the 1x2 rounded plate on the end where it has the holes in the middle, in the studs, I should say. So they do use different things like that. So those are stacked throughout the first floor. And what it does, it just, again, it adds depth, it adds texture, it adds character, it adds a different feel to it. Again, that's in the two different nougat colors, which is good for me. I like those colors. In the windows, the three big windows here at the bottom, they have this, I guess you could call it like a hanging flower garden or whatever on the outside. They use the green and then some pink flowers that are used here. But what I found really cool is at the top of the window assembly, they actually went above and beyond and even added gold tiles, and like the new Pro Gold, the Monkey Kid Pro Gold, these quarter tiles. And I love the way those are done there. They have two of them that are butted up next to each other to give you a half shape, the half circle shape. Just works really well. As you move up to the second floor, we're looking at this again. We're starting here, or we're on the right side, and we'll swing back around. Outside of the smallest of the hotel rooms, like I said, you have the black handcuffs and stuff like that to make it feel like it's got this really cool ornate railing, which it really does. I mean, it's really sharp looking. But as you move further, what you realize is you have these white columns that are on the outside. Like I said, they use the candle pieces here. They use them the whole way around, even on the third floor as well. You have two beautifully brilliant, bright red flags here that are done. I really like the way they just kind of stand out against the building. They're offset from the building like any flags would be. Just really neat in the way that those were done as well. Just to add, again, some depth, some character, a pop of color. I mean, I didn't expect to see red, so seeing the red, I did enjoy. I thought that was kind of neat. But swinging around to the center, towards more of the front, just above the entrance, you have the rounded windows here. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, these window assembly pieces are actually rounded, so they're nice. I love to see those in there. You have the big windows as we move further around. And remember when I said on the third floor, they use those kind of wheel well pieces that are used for like ATVs and such like that, the little tiny builds. Well, what they use here on the second floor for the arch of the window, they actually use peach wheel well pieces. I mean, hello, let's stay with it. I mean, these pieces can be used for so many things other than wheel wells. I mean, it could be so much more creative than that. What I do like is I like the little saddle that is just in below the window that can open outward here on the second floor on all the windows on the bottom. And what I mean by that is they have taken that new-ish piece. I think it was newer earlier this year, but it is a smaller, lighter grade slope. And it just looks really, really nice. It gives a different window look. It makes it feel like there's a cavity there. And it honestly almost feels like the arches on top are eyebrows. I know it's ironic that I'm bringing up eyebrows, but kind of like the eyebrows are raised, and then the lower pieces down on the bottom there, the tiling pieces, the slope tiling pieces there that are on the bottom, it almost feels like it's a smiling kind of eye look. It just feels like a happy building. I know that sounds really dumb, but that's what it feels like. So then let's move to the top. And we're going to start on the left and swing the whole way back around to the far right. This is the same the entire way across except for the front, that very front corner. So again, the wheel well pieces, like I said, that they use here on the ATVs that have the 1x2 or the 2x2 plates, those are nicely done. There's a really great amount of sloping and just nice, easy, smooth transition from the roof area down the side of the building. There's just a really nice grade to it. It's just a real smooth, not because of just the bricks and the sloped pieces here. It just, I don't know. There's something that with the outside and the way that this was designed, it just feels different. I really just like the way that it's done, honestly. So those are simple builds, by the way. But as you swing around to the front, as I said, you've got your decoration for the Penthouse Suite where you can come out and stand on the super duper tiny balcony. They use some white flower pieces here for some decoration on the outside, which looks nice in its own right. And then we continue around to the right side, and it's the exact same thing as far as the windows go. We've seen everything. So let's talk about minifigs, and then we can do a wrap up of all the amazingness that comes with this beautifully crafted set. All right, so let's talk about our minifigs here. We got a minifig for your lovely art studio that is down here. Female character. She got the big, thick glasses lines around her eyes. I really like the way those are done. And her bun style hairpiece in that nougat color. I like the printing on that kind of that flame orangish yellow torso here, but she's got a pendant, a little necklace that is hanging around her neck. Some good printing here. I actually am really surprised, and it actually doesn't look bad at all. And then her nicely bluish colored legs, that coolish blue color. I really like the way that is done. You got a coffee guy here, a guy that is serving coffee on a coffee cart that is out here. It's a tiny little build. It's actually really kind of cute in the way that it is done. It's got some coffee mugs on it with the coffee maker and a little stand, with some wheels. I like the way that is done. But he's wearing overalls is what it looks like. I think it's more supposed to be like an apron, but it goes way down his legs. Anyway, so what he's got is he's got one set of eyes, ears, nose, mouth, whatever. He's only got one face print. He's got some cool looking hair. We've seen it many, many times before, the spiky style hair. But I'm not the biggest fan of the printing on his legs. And why I say that is this. If you're looking at this guy from the front, his left leg is printed right up with that brown, right up to the center piece that holds that where the legs are allowed to move. If you've ever taken a minifig leg off, you know what I'm talking about. There's that little tiny little piece. Anyway, and that looks great. And then on the right side, it's printed a little bit too far over. So then there's this gap of blue. In between the brown and the brown, there is this shade of blue, which I'm like, you did it on the one. Why couldn't you have done it on this? Come on. Got to get it right. Then we have a gentleman that is here for his stay with his little hat and his fancy little stuff. He's got a suitcase that he is carrying around. He's got a nice little vest on. I like the way that it is done. Obviously, it's black with some blue lining here and blue tie. I do like the way that is done. It's really actually kind of sharp looking. He also has black legs. He's got one face, obviously, because of his hat. You can see everything. But he's got his hat on, and he's got a beard. I like his beard. His beard looks actually really nice. One day I shall have one just like him. You have a backpacker. This lady is super duper excited. She's got two faces. She comes with one that is like overly happy the first time you've ever been somewhere. Maybe it's the first time you've walked downstairs and Santa was there, since it's the holiday season. But she's got one mouth that's like wide open and just full of excitement. And then another one that's her mouth is closed and her eyes are closed. It's almost like if you imagine her sniffing in the deep air of wherever she's at, just taking in the experience. Close your eyes and just like, can this be real? She comes with a little backpack piece. There is some printing on her, which, in my opinion is slightly odd, just because, she's got this backpack piece on, but I'm assuming we'll see this torso somewhere else at some point in time. So, whatever. The front, she is wearing some sort of hoodie because you can see the drawstrings there. It is in that lime color, and then we get some purple pants. She also comes with a camera, so she's snapping photos wherever she may be. And then her hair, she comes with a big old bun of herself, but it's a little bit more curly, maybe more curly hair. Got some. I think this is the first time I'm realizing it's kind of like almost like cornrows, some kind of braids that are going on here. I'd never realized that before in that hairpiece. Then you also get this older lady with the gray hair. She got her rolly bag that she is rolling behind her. She's got an umbrella that she is carrying, and she's like, "Hello, I'm here for my stay. Let's get ready to party." Very important. I don't know. Maybe she's the VIP. Maybe she's staying in the big old suite upstairs. Anyway, she comes with two faces. She comes with the old lady hair, and what I mean by that is it's gray hair here. And then she has her somewhat smiling face, where her mouth is still closed, but she's more kind of like relaxed. And then on the other side, it's party time. She's got her pink sunglasses on, mouth is up, and we're ready to party. We're laying outside. We're doing whatever we're doing. She is printed on a pink torso piece. She does have her, I don't know what this is called, ladies. I don't know what this thing is called, where it ties, it's some kind of top, and then it ties up around the back of your neck, but part of your upper back is open. I don't know what those are called. Anyway, but on the front, she's got a flowery necklace that is hanging across her striped shirt. So I do like that. Striped on the front, striped on the back. Really nice stuff. And then her tan legs. The last few minifigs that we have here are hotel staff. You have one, they're interchangeable. You could literally have one do one job and one do the other. There is a cart that is here, and it can hold both pieces of luggage. And I mean, if you wanted to take the backpack off the girl, you could technically do that as well. But it does have some hanging bars here, so if you wanted to hang something, you technically could. Your male staff member, and by the way, they both have the same exact printing for the torsos and nothing on the legs. He only has one face because his hair doesn't go down far enough, which is odd to me because we've seen it like with other sets where like the Fab 5 Loft, where there were minifigs that had printing on them that probably shouldn't have or had it that far on the face because of hair. Anyway, with that in mind, nice little mustache and his hairpiece. I do like the colors here that they are using for him. The dark green, like that foresty green, and then your top up top is the sand green that we have seen throughout this build. So I like the way that is done. They do have the buttons that are on the front in the gold coloring. I like the printing here. I think it's really nice. They come with white hands because it's supposed to be like white glove. Your female character just has what has become more of like a standard female face. I wish they would do something a little bit different with the smiling, with the eyelashes. Nothing on the reverse side. She does come with blonde hair. I do like that hairpiece. It's one of my favorites. So as a whole, this was exquisite. The small little builds in the art studio, the art gallery, things like the cube, the palm tree, just the building of the bases for each floor was really cool just because it gives you a different, like, again, they talked about in the press release, the Lego geometry that has never been done before, at least not in the modulars. So I really like the way that is done. Every floor gives you something different, gives you a different feel, gives you a different desire. I mean, your backpacker, maybe she doesn't have the most money in the world and she booked this tiny little hotel room, but she's still staying at one of the world-class hotels, the Hotel Boutique. So I like that you get two different builds here. You get your art gallery type stuff, but you also get this hotel, which people have to stay in your state, in your city, in your state, maybe if they're going to stay. But I like the way that is done. I really like the decoration on the outside. I feel, again, like every year the boundary gets pushed a little bit further. I'll be curious to see what the designer how they decided to come up with this kind of detail on the outside. Obviously, when we talk about the bookshop, and I can't remember what was with the bookshop, but when we were talking about that stuff, the designer did the outside based on a certain area that he had lived in, and those kind of decorations and detail on the outside came from that area that he was living in at some point in time in his life. I'll be curious to see where this came from. Was it like, let's just push and see what happens? Or, whatever the case may be. I don't know. I'll be curious to see what they have to say about that. So that's going to wrap up this lovely show. I will tell you, this has got to be a day one. If you can't swing the 200, I fully understand. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And modulars, again, have all printed pieces. One of the things I found interesting is more Lego instructions are now having these little quips, these little kind of like a anecdote that is put in there, and just about, well, this person came from this area, or they give callbacks to the other modulars, and I can't remember them all because there were so many throughout the instructions. But it's nice to be able to see that kind of stuff, because then what it does is it really puts you in that mindset of, let's go back and revisit the other modulars. Maybe I want to pull down one of my other modulars and go back and look at that kind of detail, or seeing the references here and go back and find a reference to another one. There's a lot there. I mean, we're talking 15 years of modulars, and I don't have all 15 modulars. I have half. I never will, because they're so expensive to go back and get now, but I really like that. I really like the way that is done. One of the last things I almost forgot is I'm spinning this thing around in front of me. There is a dumpster that is on the rear side of the art gallery, and inside the blue dumpster, there is a white croissant. And if you don't know what that goes to, I want to tell you in case you don't know, but I kind of don't want to tell you in case you do want to figure it out. Okay, it's not a spoiler, obviously, but if you have not built the Parisian restaurant, you can turn this off for the next 10 seconds. So it uses the white croissant in there. I thought that was kind of neat. Anyway, I'm impressed. I think this is going to be a hit, obviously, like all the modulars, but I think giving it a different feel, kind of like I talked with the corner garage on the last episode, I think you're really going to feel this build a lot more than some of the others, just because of the decoration on the outside. And then you also take into account a completely different build experience, build style, build geometry. I think you will be really impressed. So that's going to wrap it up. We have plenty of things to talk about. Monkey Kid is coming next, some of the Monkey Kid stuff. And then some of the new Ninjago stuff is coming your way. So until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.